Ah, the Articles of Confederation. So much fun and so bad. So bad indeed. But don't worry, they made a postage stamp out of it. Because some people think it's worthwhile to commemorate. Why? I have no idea. So, problems with the Article of Confederation. Here we are. Number one, biggest problem is that the national government cannot impose nor can it collect taxes. So since the U.S. government cannot collect or impose taxes, well, that means they are broke. They are only depending on the states to give them money, and if the states don't give them money, well, they don't have any. So that is very limiting in what the federal government can do. If it wants to send someone over to France to create a treaty, well, it can't, unless the states lend them money. So first big problem is the lack of the ability to tax or collect. Second is there's no national currency. So you have issues where states, like here, this is North Carolina currency, where the states might be issuing currency, individual banks might be issuing currency, the guy down the street might be issuing his own currency, which is fine for local areas, but if you're trying to do business far away, then someone in Massachusetts might not accept North Carolina currency, and someone in Georgia might not accept Massachusetts currency. And God forbid you want to go trade with Europe, because who is going to be accepting currency from North Carolina? Because no one knows what it's worth. No one knows if it's worth it, if it's even can be backed up. Especially paper currency. If you look at this, it says, this bill entitles the bearer to receive 5 Spanish milled dollars, or the value thereof in gold or silver. So North Carolina, whoever they're issuing this, saying, if you bring this to us, we'll give you gold and silver in return. However, if you're bringing this over to England, they're saying, we don't want a piece of paper, we want gold and silver. So the fact that the U.S. government can't do this is going to create some problems, especially with trade. Third big problem, there's no national court system, so individual states' courts are operating at this time, and the fact that there is no oversight from the federal government onto what might happen is creating some problems and some issues where people are questioning what is going on, and there's no oversight from the government. There's no president. Number 4, there's no president, and so all we have is this Congress, which is made up of members of each state, and each state has only one vote when they're voting on things. So there's no checks and balances. If Congress isn't doing something right, well, no one has anything to say against them. And there's also not one leader that other countries can turn to, or even people in the United States can turn to. They can't say, well, this person's in charge. Well, there's really no one in charge. It's kind of unsettling to think about. And last major issue is that one vote issue. There's only one vote per state, regardless of population. So these are all the problems that the members of the Continental Congress are looking at when they're saying, well, we need to really redo, we need to remake the Articles of Confederation. And they get together, and essentially their plan is to edit. They want to edit the Articles of Confederation. So in this Continental Congress, they meet, and they meet in Philadelphia to edit, to make the Articles of Confederation better. And in that meeting of various individuals, a number of debates arise. And this is what we're going to be debating on Wednesday. We're going to be looking at these 5 debates, and you are going to be picking one of them. So, major issues. First one is that representation issue. Should people be represented by state or by population? So, state or population is the question. And essentially it breaks down to this. Should every state have the same votes as the Articles of Confederation have it, or should it be by population? So the largest states will have the most votes when it comes to deciding issues, and the smallest states will have the least votes. So this is one of the biggest issues. Issue number 2, local control versus national authority. So this boils down to states' rights. So what rights do the states have versus national authority? pretty much everyone is in agreement that the national government needs more power because the Articles of Confederation make the national government extremely weak. But the question is how much more? So some individuals are going to be arguing that there should be no state power at all, that all states need to abolish their own governments, and it should be the United States. So there isn't really a Massachusetts government. It is all laws are made by the federal government. You also have various individuals that are saying the federal government is there to exist and it supports the state governments. So yes, the federal government needs more power to help out the states, but the states are essential in governing their own people, since states know their people the best. All right, the third issue is checks and balances versus democracy. Now, what does this mean? Well, it's this. Various individuals of the United States do not trust normal people. So they don't trust that regular folks are going to be making the right decisions. They're basing this mostly off of education. So there's a debate whether affairs of the government, so things like voting in the president, things like voting in senators even, or even who should be voting. The question is who should be doing this. And it boils down to not trusting the common people versus giving great power to the voters. And a lot of people are saying we can't give power to the voters because they are fickle. They change their minds often. They shouldn't be the ones responsible for making decisions in our country. Only a select few educated and rich people should be the ones making decisions. Versus the viewpoint that says, no, everyone is an American. They're all getting affected by these decisions. So people, namely, of course, they're sexist and racist, white males, should be the ones that are making these decisions. So they should be the ones electing senators and the president. There's also then the issue of impeachment. Of if the president or some elected official uses too much power, is it all right for normal people to say, we are going to remove you from office? You're not representing us well. Issue number 4. Sorry, Musa and Jose are being rude in detention, which means Jose needs to wear the ugly Santa hat. All right, issue number 4 is the Bill of Rights. So, yes, people are happy that the delegates are deciding how to run the government. However, there's a lot of people that are concerned about the rights of normal people. That if the government is now this powerful, that's been giving all these powers, people themselves, individuals, need powers as well. So there's people that are supporting a specific Bill of Rights, which stipulates and outlines every right that all Americans have. And there's some people that are saying, well, this is limiting. We don't need to do this. And the final debate is going to be on slavery. Slavery and the slave trade. Should slavery be abolished? Should the slave trade be abolished? So these are two different things. Should slavery is ending the fact that people can be held as slaves. And the slave trade is saying that, well, slaves are okay, but we can't trade them anymore. And this is especially creating a geographical divide. Since the South is highly dependent on slaves for their farms, and the North is not, you have a lot of Southerners who are very defensive when it comes to slavery, and a lot of Northerners who are more favorable of abolishing slavery. So these are the 5 main issues that we'll be debating on Wednesday, and that's the whole shebang.